The phrase or term that is often connected to know your play is in a world that never hits pause. So I want to take a moment as all of us join this webinar and gather ourselves to attune to the information we're going to gain and take a moment and think about our relationship to the topics pertaining to know your play, the topics that matter to all of us. And as I do, I just want you to take a few moments and gather yourselves, your thoughts, kind of pause on what you're doing and think about how this makes meaning for you. Because the more that you have a connection to what we're talking about, the greater the opportunity we have to amplify this message. So think about your relationship with the term college student life. What do you think of? What do you feel? Think about mental health. What do you think of? What comes to mind? What do you feel? Financial literacy comes to mind. Gambling harm. And lastly, responsibility. We're going to dive into these topics as we go forward. But first, I want to introduce first Teresa Fiore and then Jen Shatley. Can you please speak to who you are and why you're here to speak about Know Your Play today?
Thanks, Meg. Good morning, everyone. Teresa Fiore. I am Senior Vice President of North America for Epic Global Solutions. We have been brought in to project manage and support the development of Know Your Play, working closely with ROGA. I have a gaming background spanning back to 2016 now. I started out as a gaming regulator and then spent some years on the industry side working for an online sportsbook and casino. So very happy to be with you all today and share a bit more about the site.
And Jen.
And hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Jennifer Shatley, or Jen, and I am the Executive Director of the Responsible Online Gaming Association, otherwise known as ROGA. We are a fairly new organization. We launched in March of last year, so we're about a year old, but we are representative of approximately 90% of the online gaming operators that knew that coming together collectively, we could do a lot more to promote responsible gaming and to promote education and awareness around this issue, along with our 5 other core pillars, to really look at how do we lay that foundation for responsible gaming? And that led us into this Know Your Play program of a really important audience. My background, I have been in responsible gaming for 25 years and been in the industry about 28. So I used to be at Caesars Entertainment for about 17 years. I was their VP of Responsible Gaming, and we did a lot of the first in the industry there. I'm very proud of that background, and we're looking again to bring that same energy and that same innovation to the online space and see how we really can move forward with responsible gaming and really evolve responsible gaming programs.
Wonderful. Thank you both. It's an honor to be here and facilitate. My name is Dr. Megan Popovic, or Meg, and I'm the head of delivery for North America of Epic Global Solutions, but also have a background of 20 years of working in the university environment. And so knowing that it's a space of transition, growth, optimism, risk, vulnerability, and opportunity, let's dive into what Know Your Play is. So Jen, can you begin? Can you tell us the story of Know Your Play and what the original vision was?
Certainly. So having been in responsible gaming for quite a while, I've known that there's been a lack of resources available for college students. Typically, colleges have policies around other types of behaviors, but not around gaming. So we really have this gap. So we were aware of a lack of education, a lack of resources for this age group. And now that sports betting has been legalized across the US, I think it's more important than ever that this age group have these resources, have this foundation around responsible gaming, because either they are engaged in the activity already or they will be in the future. And so laying that knowledge at this time is really a way to help them engage in a way that is responsible and keeps it fun and entertaining as it's supposed to be. So, we started looking at, there were a lot of resources from Epic, particularly around student athletes. So we decided that we wanted to broaden that education and that awareness and those resources to the larger student population. There seemed to be a gap in resources for them. And so that was sort of the genesis of why we developed Know Your Play. And then I really wanted to make it relevant to college students, even if they did not engage in gaming at all. So there's a lot of concepts here that we're talking about that are around decision making, around risk taking, around financial literacy, that even if they do not engage in online gaming, they're important life skills. And I think they're lacking, quite frankly, with this age group. And so there are a lot of, you'll see when Teresa goes through the content, there's a lot of things here that are relevant, even if it's not responsible gaming related. Yes, we have a focus on responsible gaming. That's what ROGA's focus is. But then we also have things around mental wellness, stresses of school, how to balance that stress, financial literacy around understanding debt, the risks of debt, understanding savings, understanding self-limiting, self-regulating behavior, which can be important around video gaming. It can be important around digital health. It can be an important concept around credit card usage in general. So again, making the content relevant for this age group was really the focus.
So if those in the audience are listening, help encapsulate this age group, this target audience. So could you help describe the vision of who Know Your Play is exactly for, and knowing there's ripples out from that? And also in combination, can you share the thought process around how this group is intended to be accessed and reached, knowing that every group has their own ways of being and doing, and how to hit that sweet spot is often the way of success.
Absolutely. So this is really intended for anyone of the college age group demographic. So they don't have to be enrolled in a university. It tends to be the easiest place to reach them because they're all collectively there. But really anyone within this age group can benefit from these resources. So everyone can access it. It is a website that's all digital assets. We wanted to meet students where they are, or this age group where they are. Where they are is on their phones or on their tablets. They're all digital. So we thought it was really important that the main components of Know Your Play is all digital tools. So they can access this on their own time. They can access it on their phones, on their computers, their tablets, wherever they happen to be. And the resources, there are things they can download. There are things that they can use beyond watching videos. But we also are looking at how do we integrate this into campuses and universities as well, into sort of the educational things or the policies that are on university campuses. We will be holding some live events at a select number of campuses. Teresa will hopefully be hosting a lot of those, just to get excitement around the concept and around the website and raise awareness of it. We do have some digital advertising happening at about 25 universities right now with QR codes that'll take them directly to the site. And we're also looking at potentially partnering with different universities that may have financial literacy focused institutions to look at some sort of peer-led sessions. So we're looking at a variety of ways to really integrate this. I know I have worked in a university background. Sometimes it's very difficult, even within one university, to have sort of open communication channels, much less across universities in the whole US. So we're looking at a lot of variety of ways of how to get this integrated. And so looking for suggestions from the audience and others of ways to do this that can really raise awareness and really get this integrated and in the hands of the students.
Yeah, so thank you for that and pointing to the audience. So as much as this is a webinar and dialogue initially and then Q&A after, for those online right now, please use the chat. This is an opportunity to be coactive, to share questions that we can have in the Q&A at the end. But if there's ideas or things that you're contemplating in your mind, feel free to pop it in, because in many ways we're all in this together. And the more that you can help us ideate and co-create, we know the greater impact that this will have. So I have two more questions for you, Jen. And the first one pertains to the thinking within ROGA and the conversations that have happened up until now around why this information, why these topics of mental health, financial literacy, gambling, harm awareness. Can you take us into some of those conversations as much as you can to help
Certainly.
us build trust in not only the product, but those that are helping deliver the product? What are some of those meaningful conversations speaking to of why this matters?
Certainly. So this age group has this sort of newfound freedom. So they have newfound freedom in general. Many have,
Yeah.
this is probably the first time they've ever lived away from home, and they also have this new financial freedom. They may not be prepared for that freedom, and they may not have the skills to understand, again, debt. They can get credit cards at this point in their life. They may not understand how to manage credit cards. They have probably a stipend of money that they can spend per month. How do they do that in a responsible way and balance all of the entertainment activities or all of the other responsibilities that they now have? So really building that awareness and those skills with this group, this age group, is incredibly important. And then looking at the concepts that we looked at are really around things that will promote responsible gaming. So especially with sports betting, we looked at things like illusion of control. I think sometimes with this age group, there's this idea that if I know enough about this team, I know the weather conditions, I know all of these things, I know who's hurt, that I can predict an outcome, and that is going to happen no matter what, that I know this and this is a sure thing. So really getting at the root of those types of misperceptions around gaming is incredibly important to promote responsible gaming. So it's all tied together. And then that idea again of self-limiting. Self-limiting is incredibly important around credit card usage, around time, that time that you engage in anything, but also time that you engage in gaming. So again, looking at how to balance this with all of the other things going on in their life, like schoolwork, with everything else, and just building those skills. And again, I think the importance of the mental health tools that are here can't be understated. It really is helpful to talk about stress of balancing all of those things: school life, of entertainment, of living, living away from your family, of all of those things. Final exams, that, all of these things that happen when you're now out on your own for the first time, and really having the skills to do that is important. And so we really looked at how to make this a holistic program. So it's not just responsible gaming. And then we also work to help bring to life problem gambling and the consequences and effects that can happen based on problem gambling, because we want to really humanize that and to let them understand that lived experience, because that's an important component as well. So we bring it all together into this one package, and I think it works really nicely as this holistic, evidence-based education program, but it does it in a way that's engaging, that's for this age group. You don't want to have it be a lecture. So we were very focused on, the length of the videos, the feel of the videos, the tone of the videos, the content. It was all taken into consideration because we want to make sure that it does resonate with this specific age group. The way that you would talk to me, it's going to be very different than the way that you're going to talk to a 21-year-old on a university campus. So we had to make sure we did that. And that's why we partnered with such great partners. They all have their own unique strengths in responsible gaming, in the problem gambling awareness, in mental health and well-being. So our Responsible Gambling Council really focused on the RG components of the program. Epic Global Solutions focused on bringing to life those consequences and that lived experience with problem gambling. And then Kindbridge also brought to life the financial literacy in a way, again, that makes it engaging, and also those mental health components. So working together, I think, all of them have specific content, specific views that can help shape all perspectives around this. And then also they all have experience with engaging with this audience, this age group, so they know the way to make this resonate with them and make them engage with it.
Oh, thank you. As you were speaking, the words thoughtfulness, intentionality, and integrity kept coming to mind. And that answer, I think, shows the hours and time and care put into building this as a group. So thank you. I have one more question, and then Teresa is going to share the product that came about and birthed from this ideation. Why did ROGA decide to bring in multiple stakeholders to create Know Your Play?
Yeah. So collaboration is incredibly important throughout my career. I've always tried to look at bringing in all these different perspectives because the end goal that we all have is to protect player well-being. We all want to do that, and we all have different ideas and different ways to do that and different perceptions of the best way to do that. And so we really have to listen to each other and work together. Those are the things that actually make a difference, is making sure that we're listening to all voices and that we're bringing in all of these varied perspectives. So we are very much collaborative. We are a collaboration of operators, but we're also very collaborative in who we're partnering with and who we're working with, because again, that end goal we all share, and the best way to get there is to do it together.
So let's move forward. Teresa Fiore of Epic Global Solutions. Without further ado, can you share and walk us through Know Your Play?
Very happy to. Let me just pull it up. And while I'm doing that, Dr. Meg, I just think it's important to call out that I am demoing this from my desktop, but the site is fully mobile optimized. So I encourage everyone on the call to have a play around with it, whether it be on your cell phone, whether it be on your desktop after this call. Again, we are trying to reach as many college students as possible. And we know there's different style learners. They are on the go. They are way more attached to their mobile devices than I was perhaps when I was in college. So we took all of that into consideration. And so hopefully you can see my screen now. Yep. Okay. So this is Know Your Play, and essentially it organizes the content that Jen had discussed earlier into primary sections delivered and informed by the respective organizations that Jen had mentioned. So Kindbridge Behavioral Health, Responsible Gaming Council, and Epic Global Solutions. What's really unique about this site is that all of the content, it is video content lasting between 3 and 5 minutes. So it took quite a bit of effort for us as, the experts in the space who can spend hours talking about these concepts to distill it down to the most relevant information. So when you actually go into a video, as an example, this is Understanding Money Habits. This was a section shot, developed, and scripted by Kindbridge. You will see that the video pops up. Again, accommodating different style learners. We have a brief written summary of each. So, the use case that we considered there was, hey, there's a student who's checking this out in their dorm room and they have a roommate asleep next to them. Maybe they can't watch it with sound, but for whatever reason, they need to know about financial realities of college students at 2 a.m. We want to make sure they have a way to access this information. So I will not play the actual videos with the audio, but what I do want to show is at the end of each video, we have a touch point for data collection. And that's another area that's super exciting about Know Your Play. Because we wanted to eliminate any barrier to entry, we are not requiring a login. We are not collecting any personally identifiable information. We wanted the opportunity to measure, engage the effectiveness of the content for the actual students who are using this. So at the end of every video, we ask 2 Likert scale questions about whether or not they learned something new and the relevance of the content. That is something that we continually monitor as a group, and it will inform future iterations of the site. We all recognize that, there will likely be changes based on this data, and that's okay. The purpose of this content is that it's usable and that it is having an impact. So for modular sections like integrating mental health, finances, and school life, anyone can scroll through either on their desktop or mobile device and see all of the videos there. Our responsible gaming section, these are a combination of human subject delivered and also animated videos. These are illustrating some of the key responsible gaming principles, which Jen had mentioned earlier, which are applicable to other areas of life as well. Beyond gaming or gambling, should students utilize this, not engage in it? So, impulsivity, chasing losses, illusion of control, all highly relevant and really important to, an emerging adult who finds themselves in a new environment. I also wanted to highlight the exclusive content. So this is something unique that we did. We marked content where we have our lived experience facilitators, so persons with lived experience of gambling addiction or gambling harm. We wanted to promote that content as exclusive. To access that content, we develop access codes for universities to distribute out to their students and staff who may find this information relevant. It provides us with an opportunity to generate excitement by, having a university staff or faculty member say, hey, we have something really unique and special we can push out. We want this Know Your Play to be an educational tool and something that can be added to university toolkits as part of that well-being. The other beautiful piece about utilizing access code is that then we can see user metrics specific to that code. And because they are developed at the specific university level, it provides us a bit more focus around the actual data that we are collecting. So for anyone who finds themselves on the site that does not have a code, all they need to do is hit request code, enter that information. It goes to the dedicated Know Your Play mailbox on the back end, which Epic manages. We will be able to respond and share a code. It gives us the opportunity to get to know the individual who's requesting it, to say, hey, how else can we help you with this? We recognize that students are very, very busy. We want to make it as sort of relevant and easy to access as possible. If I was to type in, this is just the dummy access code for Epic. All you need to do is type it in, and it unlocks that exclusive content, and then somebody is able to watch it. So that is the exclusive content. We also have an interactive element. So we have a 16-question quiz. And you can see it's a true and false style quiz. We provide the actual answer because, again, we're not trying to trip anyone up here. What we are trying to do is figure out our users' knowledge levels and also make sure we have an opportunity to provide them with this education. Again, it's yet another data touch point for us to monitor on the back end. We also have support resources, of course. So if, as you've noticed, I haven't done a lot of clicking here. That's intentional. That's very much in line with UX best practices for this age group. We wanted to make it as scrollable and easy to access as possible. So right on the landing page, we have the most pertinent support resources, the problem gambling helpline, as well as a link to state-specific resources as well. It could get very dense very quickly if we listed out resources by state. So we decided against that, but we wanted to link right to the website that has all of those resources available. The crisis lifeline, counseling services, and then again, thinking about different style learners, we also have downloadable PDFs. So we develop them for students and also parents and staff. We made those available in Spanish as well. Again, we are not sure what the uptake will look like there, but it's something that we are able to monitor on the back end. I cannot download it while I'm demoing, but homework for you all. Once you check out the site, give it a download, have a look. Please let us know what you think. The final piece that I wanted to share with everyone is just the About Us section. So, anything that the industry puts out, it's going to be received with potential criticism and trepidation, right? This is something that operators are using to drive this population to gamble. Quite the contrary. We were very thoughtful in how we developed this content, and we wanted to provide that in a way that was clear, easy to understand, and also put, the partners' names behind it as well. We are all dedicated to responsible and problem gambling, and so we wanted to make sure that anyone viewing the site knows that, it has our stamp of approval, and it's something that we're very proud of, and believe that it will have a positive impact. So That's pretty much the site. I just wanted to end my kind of bit before we go into Q&A with a call to action. So is anyone listening in has probably figured out, it's a movement. It's a grassroots movement that we are trying to stand up here. So we are extending our reach as wide as possible. So my challenge to everyone on this webinar, either live or anyone going back to watch this as a recording, check out your network, check out the website, see who in your network may benefit from this information and share this with them, or refer them to us at Epic Global Solutions, and our email's right on the website. We will follow up this webinar with a follow-up as well. Help us get the word out. We are here to support its uptake and are just so excited about it. So thank you.
Well, let's shift to some of the questions, and thank you for those already writing into the chat. The first question I have is, will this be growing internationally? So as of now, it's based in the US, and what's the vision for Canadian or international support links added to the website?
So currently we are focused on the US. ROGA is a US entity. As we grow, as this campaign grows, there might be opportunities to extend, but for right now, the focus is the US, which is big and broad already. So once we get our handle around that, then we can look at expanding.
All right. Thank you. Next question, because I want to honor everyone's time here today. Is there any data shared back with ROGA or the partners?
So there is, to the extent of how do we continue to improve the site? How do we provide, so we can see sort of where the videos are the most interest, where are the ones where maybe they're wanting more information, where they're delving into it a little bit more. So it'll help us continue to put valuable resources on the site, and it'll help us know what are the ones that are really engaging and capturing the students' attention. And maybe it'll also tell us what are we missing? What do we need to add to really enhance what we're already doing? So to that extent, yes. As Teresa said, we won't know who's using it in general. We'll know sort of the geographical location, what videos they're spending time on, things like that, but that all with the intent of trying to improve the site and trying to make sure that the resources that we're developing are relevant.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Continuous growth and learning and improvement. So
Correct.
Next question. Are there currently any partnerships with operators?
Partnerships with, so this organization is 8 of the largest online operators in the US. So they represent about 90% of the handle. So that is a partnership with ROGA that has developed that. There are some of our operators do have individual partnerships with some of our partners from ROGA. For instance, Kindbridge, they also provide treatment services through telehealth. And some of our operators have partnerships with them. When someone excludes from their site, they actually refer them to Kindbridge in order to access those resource support services as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey,
And I know
Dr.
on this
Meg,
call, sorry, go ahead.
If I could just add to that, because I'm just reading that question, I'm wondering if the question was around promotion of Know Your Play. And so the answer there is yes. ROGA's operator members meet with us regularly, and they present ways to promote the product, building it into their CRM systems and tapping into their own database of customers. So an example would be putting Know Your Play up on their responsible gaming page as an example.
Okay, fantastic. I have 2 final questions, but please keep the questions and conversation going in the chat. We'll collect it and again, build it into best practices for us. So very succinct. If someone's on this webinar or listening after, who should they contact if they're a college or university and they want Know Your Play to come to their campus?
Is the question who should they contact at the university or who should they contact within this webinar?
Both. Help people understand. Like was said earlier when Jen was describing the demographic we're focusing on. Sometimes it's a bit of a maze, and yet this is so important. So help us and help those listening see how do you suggest to navigate this to bring Know Your Play onto campuses?
Sure. So, campuses and universities, they are very complex organizations, but the staff and faculty who we are working in can roughly be categorized into a few primary areas. So one of those would be student affairs, sometimes referred to as student life. Those individuals will oversee the training and hiring of residential advisors, as an example, or they will oversee social support services to make sure that the students are having an excellent experience on campus outside of, their academic responsibilities. There's also the academic side as well. So, we're speaking to an increasing number of teaching staff members who find this information valuable to integrate into their curriculum. So sports management is one that comes to mind. Psychology and behavioral health would be another. Econ finances, there's a whole host, and we are actually developing a toolkit so that we have examples of how this can be utilized and built into various areas of the university system. As it relates to connecting with us, check out the website. We have a dedicated mailbox there. Just shoot that mailbox a message and someone from Epic will respond to you. And we are happy to jump on a call and sort of troubleshoot and figure out what the best course of outreach is, depending on who your referral is to.
Thank you, Tia. I think that's helping a lot of people listening. And we might get an abundance of messages now because of your answer. So thank you. Last question will be for Jen. What are the future aspirations ROGA has to grow this program? We're speaking big dreams, high dreams here. Can you leave us with that note?
Certainly. I think it is really to make sure that this is integrated into university systems across the U.S. and making sure that we continue to develop information and resources that are going to be relevant to this student population and are going to be helpful. So we're continuing to improve it, continuing to expand it, continuing to implement it, and again, looking for those creative ways of how we can get the word out, how we can get this ingrained into maybe Greek life. There's a lot of organizations there that we're looking at. Again, institutes within universities that maybe focus on financial literacy or those types of things, but really looking at making sure that all people in this age group have access to this information because it's important information, it's foundational information that can help them in many aspects of their life. And then making sure again that we're listening to them and understanding what other needs do they have and making sure that we were providing those on the side as well.
Thank you. Thank you. So this concludes our Know Your Play webinar. A massive thank you to Dr. Jen Shatley and Teresa Fiore. In a world that never hits pause, we took 30 minutes of pause to learn and see what collaboration can do when we try to create good in the world. So on behalf of everyone on this call and the organizations involved, thank you. And we look forward to keeping in touch and building this to grow forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.